Welcome back to Unpacking Me, the parts of trauma no one talks about. I am Nikki, trauma recovery therapist, and a lifelong student of grace.
And I am Murnell, your beautiful co-host. Somebody who wants to be honest and real, especially with those of us who are trying to heal.
And on today's episode, we are diving into the messy life, grateful heart. Because no matter how much therapy, journaling, meditation, yoga we do, life is still messy. Life is lifing. But with gratitude, it doesn't really require perfection. Gratitude just asks for presence and acknowledgement. And that is so hard for so many people to be able to find the things that are going well in the midst of pain. So, today, we will be tackling messy life, grateful heart. Now, there's this unspoken rule of thumb when it comes on to this healing journey, the healing culture, that if you're doing okay, then you need to start looking like you have your stuff together. Like, you need to look like somebody that is healing. And really, that causes a lot of individuals to go into this healing journey expecting it to be a straight line. And I wish for our listeners could see right now that, my motion of this zigzag, zigzag. Sometimes it's straight, sometimes it's crooked, sometimes it flops, sometimes it's straight. It's just beautifully messy, painful, pain in the ass, but a journey that is so worth it when it comes on to healing. So if you're doing the work and you're showing up as best as you can, give yourself some credit.
Yes.
Right? Because people seem to think that you should wake up grounded and you should have your finances tip-top shape, your relationship should be running smoothly, and you shall never spiral again. But the truth is, healing doesn't erase the mess. It just helps you to figure out how to restructure your life and navigate messes differently.
And I think that's the difference between a healing journey and a healing culture. Because culture dictates certain rules and expectation, but a journey allows you to be in this path that doesn't have a straight line. It allows you to be in this path that just looks what it looks like because it's a journey. So we're expecting unexpected things to take place. And because sometimes growth doesn't mean you're not gonna have everything together. It means sometimes you're just gonna cry yourself
That part
to sleep because of self-awareness instead of self-hate. Or your anxiety might look like a knock on the door and you have to meet it with curiosity. It's not a linear experience, but if we're going to use the word culture, it dictates linear experience.
What I always try to stress with people I'm partnering with for their own healing journey, and even for myself, is the importance of recognizing that your messiness and the wounds you still haven't worked on or are working on, it really doesn't disqualify you from peace. You deserve peace.
Yeah.
And it's important for people to understand that healing doesn't mean that the chaos automatically goes away.
That's a big one.
That chaos and clutter requires intentional action, intentionally, little by little, one step at a time, one chaos by one chaos, you tackle them. Because if you're trying to tackle everything all at once, you will crash and burn.
Yeah.
And gratitude can be hard because when you're in so much suffering and pain, it's really hard to feel joy. It's really hard to see where you're doing well. And the thing about our brain does this thing called tunnel visioning.
Yes.
If I'm suffering and I feel hopeless and helpless, the only thing most of us will focus on is what's going wrong. You literally have to intentionally look for glimmers.
Yeah.
And by glimmers, I mean moments where
Mm-hmm.
things are shifting in the
Yeah.
right direction, things are hopeful. And I recommend that people at the end of each day, I say, sit on your bed
Mm.
and ask yourself, what are three things I'm proud of me for?
Mm.
What are three things I'm thankful to me for?
Mm.
You're not going to like it at first.
Mm.
It's not going to feel comfortable
It's
at
not gonna
first.
feel good.
But the more you do it and the more you repeat that behavior little by little, your brain will start to rewire itself because that repetition helps. So, if we're honest, it's not, like I said, it's not easy to feel like, to see yourself doing anything better or different when you're in so much pain that is moving you in the right direction. You literally have to fight like hell.
Yeah.
This literally is psychological warfare
Yeah.
sometimes when you're going through
Yes.
this healing journey. But with the gratitude, it really is a sign of emotional maturity, and it allows you to be honest with yourself and not stay silent. And you have to fight yourself to see yourself doing things that are good, especially when all your life you've been told
Think
everything
you
that you've
did.
been doing that
God,
was bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for us to name that just because we're learning how to be grateful and developing a grateful heart
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that we're not going to have moments where we have a complaint
Mm-hmm.
or something that's going wrong in
Mm-hmm.
our lives. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean just be grateful, doesn't mean don't complain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that we're just going to have this experience where we're just looking at only the grateful things in life and pretend like the other things don't exist,
Right.
because they do exist. And
Yeah.
let's be honest, the healing journey is about understanding that there is yin and what is the
Yin
Chinese
yang.
yin yang? Right. There's good and there's bad. There's moments of gratefulness and there's moments of hardship. And also recognizing that two things can exist in the world at the same time
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have to overpower each other.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude and grief can exist
Say that
at the
again.
same time.
Say that again.
Gratitude and grief
Mm-hmm.
can exist
Mm-hmm.
at the same time.
You know, as you talk about gratitude and grief existing at the same time, I don't know where this came from in our society, where people, some individuals seem to think if I'm experiencing a loss, I have to deprive myself of joy.
Yes. Yeah.
And something just emerged for me.
Mm.
I just have this visual of our ancestors, enslaved
Mm.
ancestors who through slavery, that's what got many of them through it. They made time to
Yeah.
celebrate. They made time to celebrate and communicate and connect through song and dance and poetry.
That's when their development was. There's a lot of development of a lot of our culture
Yes.
today.
Yes. So I just want people to understand that the only rule that says that you are not allowed to give yourself moments of joy, allow yourself to have moments of joy in the midst of pain, is the rule you set.
Yeah.
You get to
Yeah.
break it. You don't have to fall into that belief system that just because you're experiencing a loss, whether it's a death of a loved one or the ending of a relationship or the loss of a job, that you have to deprive yourself
Yeah.
of joy.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You are a human. As a matter of fact, a lot of the issues we have as adults, especially those going through the healing journey, is we forget to make space to play.
Mm.
We don't make space to play. We don't make space to have fun. We don't make space to laugh. We think it's either sadness
Or
or
joy.
joy.
Mm.
No, it can be sadness and
And
anxiety and joy
yes.
and frustration.
Yes. I always say sometimes the rain and the sun are out at the same time.
Yes.
And sometimes the rain, the
Yes.
sun, and the
Yes.
moon are out at
Yes.
the same time.
Yes.
Multiple things can exist in our world
Mm-hmm.
at once.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to say, I'm thankful for what I have
Mm-hmm.
and whisper, this is hard.
Yeah. And start
And
small.
yeah.
Sometimes it's I'm thankful that I can notice that I don't want to do this.
Mm-hmm. That is so powerful being able to say, I don't want it today.
Just be honest
Yeah.
with yourself. Gratitude is just healing.
Yeah.
It changes the brain. There is research out there that shows that the more you practice daily moments of gratitude, just by saying, what do I have that I'm thankful for? Two things that I'm thankful for, or two people I'm thankful for, right?
Mm.
Just doing that through repetitive
Repetitive.
behaviors, because
Mm-hmm.
that's how the brain changes, through repeated behaviors that you want to embody as habits. That when you do that, it starts to renew your neural pathways in your brain. It starts to rewire it. And then
Right.
if you're always looking for things to be thankful for, after a while it starts to override you looking for things to be afraid of,
Yes.
you looking for things to criticize,
Yes.
you looking for things that are trying to wipe you out.
Yes. This is a practice I do with some of my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, today we're just going to send each other what is one thing that brought us joy today,
Mm-hmm.
especially when we're so used to seeing the things that make us sad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's, and my clients and I do it too,
Mm-hmm.
find it so helpful. And you just gradually watch the shift of the brain take
Yeah.
place. It's
Yeah.
very powerful.
Yeah. And growing up in survival mode taught many individuals that gratitude means that we need to ignore
Mm-hmm.
the pain.
That's true.
But no, that's not what it is, right? Gratitude means both.
Right.
I can see and feel my heartbreak
Mm-hmm.
and also leave room for hope.
Yes.
That I can see my micro, and I say micro progress, and there can also me being struggling and falling backwards into old habits. That I can be frustrated even though I have faith.
Mm.
That I can have moments of doubt even when I have faith.
Mm-hmm.
But we tend to want things to be either
Either
or
or.
an extreme, and it just keeps us locked in this prison.
Singularity.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's not healthy. So it's important for people to understand that being thankful or grateful doesn't mean that you ignore that you're going through hell.
Yeah.
It just means that you allow yourself permission
Mm-hmm.
to have both.
Yeah.
Gratitude is just allowing yourself to exist with the imperfection.
And that's a duality we were talking about
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah.
Two things can exist at the same
Yeah.
time. And I think a lot of the time we are so conditioned to chase balance
Mm-hmm.
and not give ourselves permission to be.
To be
To be
imbalanced and
imbalanced.
imperfect.
Exactly. And so when we don't have that permission, life becomes suffocating.
Yes.
It becomes
Yes.
hard.
What comes up for me is around religion,
Mm,
and how
that's
I
true.
often hear the statement of do not be anxious for anything, do not be afraid. And we have to understand, and people might not agree with me on this, right? But okay, you're allowed to your views and I'm allowed to mine. I don't know that. Like, why were we made with the ability to feel anxious and feel afraid if we're not to feel it?
I think it's oftentimes misunderstood.
Right, because to me it means when you are anxious, don't allow yourself to just
Lay
linger
in the
in it. Take
anxiety.
action.
Yes.
Take action and toward nurturing yourself or doing what's necessary to help your brain, your body, your whole being to shift out of it,
And
right?
that's actually what the rest of the scripture
Well,
says.
like I said, the only part people tend to focus on is the do not. And you can't tell people to do not, like when it comes on to emotions, because that is a self denial. That is a denial of what makes us fully human and being.
And that's why I think a lot of the time, and that's the singularity
Mm-hmm.
part of where we get stuck in one way
Mm-hmm.
and not recognize that two things can exist at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you, even that part of that scripture, I always tell people, until I could read it myself, don't quote the scripture to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it says, do not be anxious, but in all things, and it tells you how to have that
Yes.
duality
Yes.
with Thanksgiving. So don't linger in the anxiety. Try to put yourself in a place where you can look at some of the life a little bit different.
Yeah.
And I think people get stuck in the do not because we are all looking for balance rather
Yeah.
than giving ourselves
Well,
permission.
our emotions have been weaponized against us for so long,
Exactly.
especially people in the BIPOC community. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't be angry, don't be fearful, don't be this. what you're doing is to me it sounds like shaming.
It's shaming.
And because of that, when individuals are in session and they start to feel fear or shame or anger or disgust, they'll shut it down. They'll suppress it, not realizing that that's what's making you sick.
That's what's
That
causing the
is
pain.
what's causing these feelings of helplessness, because your body knows naturally, organically, innately that you are not meant to suppress what you feel. You manage it in a healthy way, but like when we want to poop, we don't just ignore ourselves the pee and poop, because the pee and the poop is they're gonna
come out.
The pee will come out. The poop may stay inside.
That's true.
But it will cause a lot of health issues.
Oh, yes.
And that's what happens to a lot of us. We keep suppressing what we feel, suppressing what we feel. And what your mouth won't say, your behavior will. Your behavior will always say what your mouth won't say.
That's powerful.
So let's just slow it down together. Let's just slow it down and kind of, pivot around, and have a breath. Have a sigh, and think of an area of your life that feels messy right now, just chaotic, out of control. The one thing that makes you sigh or roll your eyes every day or just kind of throw your hands up in the air. And now ask yourself, what is the moment teaching me? What is this experience teaching me about myself, about how I handle stress, about boundaries I might need to set, about things or tools I have that can help me to navigate it, right?
Right.
And the next question is, where is the small grace hiding in the chaos?
Oh, that's good.
Where is there grace for yourself? For the situation, for others. But let's go back to self, because we're really good
at giving others
grace.
Yes, ma'am.
But when it comes on to self,
not so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
So where is the small grace hiding in all of this messiness?
And you know what? If your brain said nowhere, that's okay too. That's okay.
That's okay.
Because sometimes gratitude starts with the breath that says, I'm still here. I'm here. And that's enough. That's enough.
And I just want to make space to honor all of us, right? Those of us who've been able to figure out how to survive the messy world we live in and be grateful still, especially BIPOC, right? Because gratitude is, when it's locked in with truth, it really is justice. It's defiance. It's resistance against fear. So I just want to, because sometimes people do things that are not healthy to get through life, and they judge themselves, and they hate on themselves, and there's a lot of shame. And I get it, you want to do it differently, but can for now can we honor the efforts that you're making to make it through? Can we honor that, although you want to stop doing whatever it is that you do that you don't like, that helps you manage the pain, whether it's gambling, whether it's drinking, whether it's jumping from relationship to relationship, can we make space to honor the fact that you doing that has kept you alive, helped you to survive,
breathing.
And while you figure out how you want to do things differently, behave differently, navigate the mess differently, can we start by seeing why you had to start doing that thing in the first place before we judge you?
Yes.
And then turn toward the part of yourself that had to do it with thankfulness, and then negotiate how you want to navigate the messiness differently.
Yes. I love that. That's really beautiful. And recognizing that your life, my life, may not look like the piece that I want at this moment, but I can still choose to find moments that feel like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because gratitude doesn't erase the mess of our lives, it helps us enjoy and dance in it.
And it's a lot of damn
And
work.
it's a it's not
It's
easy
a
to
lot
look
of
at
damn
that
work.
part of yourself and think them.
You know,
It's a lot of
sometimes,
work.
right, sometimes when people come into sessions with me, I'll say to them, and they don't even realize initially, I say to them, tell me what's going right.
Mm.
What do you see yourself doing differently? And a lot of people struggle to recognize their micro, tiny efforts they make because we were taught, many of us, that if what we're doing doesn't show a big achievement or have a big macro result from it, then the small efforts don't count. And because we were taught that, so many of us, we don't make space to celebrate the small wins, no matter how tiny it is. Sometimes it's, I wasn't showering for 5 days a week, but
Now I share
this week,
2 days.
right,
That's
right.
beautiful.
And because we are so hell bent on everything needing to be very achievement oriented or outcome driven, we discount the little efforts that we make. And it's important to understand that this is work. And this is why it's important for you to learn to celebrate your efforts. Don't discount, dismiss them, or minimize them, right? Because gratitude starts to make you more soft to yourself, not tolerant. I'm not saying you should tolerate what you're doing that's not in your best interest. What I'm saying is it helps you to soften towards yourself for the efforts that you are making.
100% true, because at the end of the day, I think a lot of the time we're looking for instant gratification because that's the reality we were taught. And so we get a lot of mixed messages about how to do this journey.
Yeah.
And recognizing that it's the little things that matter is a huge part of that journey, because the little things add up.
Yeah, the little things add up. You matter. All parts of you matter. And, I, one day in my reflection, this thought came to me, and maybe I shared it here before, but just in case I didn't, I'm going to share it again. That your creation, the fact that you were created, doesn't matter how you believe you were created, your creation is a sign, a reflection, a representation of your embodied value. When you entered into this world, it was a sign that you were coming into this world as an embodied value in the world. And anything you create while you're here, any relationships you have while you're here, any experience you have while you're here, especially when you're creating or adding to things, it is how you manifest the value that you embody.
That's so true.
And if you're looking for value in other people or things, you're not going to find it because you are an embodied value. You are an embodiment of value.
Yeah.
And so, with that said, Mernell, I don't know if there's anything you want to share as we're transitioning out of today's episode.
No, except for thank you for being with us today. Today's
Yes.
episode.
Yes.
And if this reminds you that healing in messiness can coexist, if this is one of those episodes about gratitude that has opened your eyes and understanding of what gratitude looks like, share it with somebody.
And yeah, please do. But as we're leaving or ending, something, I just had this thought to say, maybe not even use the word gratitude because that's so cliche nowadays. So if that's hard, just being thankful.
Thankful. Yeah.
Start by thanking you every day.
Yeah.
Every day you wake up and you open your eyes, find one thing that you're thankful to you for. One thing. And at night before you go to bed, try to find one thing that you're thankful to you for.
Yeah.
Because the more thankful you become of you and all parts of you, the more you'll be better able to extend that outside of you into this world that we live in.
That's beautiful.
And until next time, just be kind to you, take care of you, celebrate you, the micro efforts you make. Be kind to yourself, especially in this Thanksgiving season.
That's true.
Yes.
Thanksgiving is coming up.
Yes. So be kind to you because
You
you
deserve
deserve it.